It's the Gauntlet. Let's go.
If you smell what the Gauntlet is cooking.
Let's go. All right. We are on. We are live. It is time for season 2, episode 5 of the Gauntlet. I am your moderator tonight, Jay Nelson, a.k.a. James Tatum Spin Around. Shout out to the boy. I know he out there watching. You know what I'm saying? He going to be back soon, but I done took the seat for right now. So, we got a good show for you. We got our player of the week, Jerome Bettis, 2015 Hall of Fame. Also, we're going to be talking a little bit about Baker Mayfield and why he's feeling a little disrespected. Things kind of a lot shady around C-Town. What's going on? Then we're also going to talk about Deebo Samuel and why he's requesting a trade. The best offensive player is wanting out of San Francisco. So what's the rumblings on that? What's going on? And then also we are going to talk about the newly debuted United States Football League. But before we get into all that, let's get the people in here. Let's go ahead and get the boy JJ Jenkins, Ravens aficionado. What's going on with it? How you doing, partner?
I'm doing good, my man. How are you?
Doing good, doing real good. You know what I'm saying? I just like to take this time to, I know it's been formally done before, but welcome to the team. Being a part of the Horsemen and everything. And, we worked with you for a very long time, and we kind of feel like you earned this. You know what I mean? So go ahead and say a little something.
Well, at first, thank you guys for the opportunity. I'm very honored to be a part of this team. I'm happy to be there for my man Tyler, James, Jay, and Dom. It is time to get it on and cracking. Your newest co-host of The Gauntlet, Ravens aficionado, you name it, I am it. It is me, I is thee.
100. And also, let's go ahead and get the other horsemen here. We got Detroit Dom all the way from Livonia, Michigan. What's happening?
From the mean streets of Livonia, Michigan. What's up, y'all?
Let's go.
Man, the weather here today is beautiful, but it is wreaking havoc on my allergies. It's like 80 degrees in my house right now. I'm not turning on the goddamn AC. Not yet. I refuse.
Now, everybody from the northern Midwest is Eskimos. Y'all used to cold weather, so when some warmth come through, that's when y'all sniffles get to happening.
It snowed on Monday.
The year where it's actually hot.
And I was sitting on the porch in shorts at like 10 o'clock this morning because it was already 70 degrees. And I'm like, okay, hello, spring.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good. You shouldn't be sneezing and all that.
Yeah, because shoot, y'all only got 3 months of the year where it's actually warm.
Yeah, a little bit, But we also got two guests in here tonight. Let's go ahead and get the first one. The boy Will Vogel, a.k.a. 1/4 of the Basket Bros. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Just fighting through the COVID, but gotta make an appearance when I can.
Hey, that's dedication right there. That's dedication. So happy that you're staying safe and you're being well. And then let's get the other one up in here, all the way live from Charlotte, the other C-Town, Uptown Jenny. Get in here.
Hey,
what's going on? Now, hold on, hang on a second. I want you to get out because she suited and booted tonight. She headed somewhere. she headed somewhere.
Yes, I'm going to a concert this evening.
Hey, treat yourself, don't cheat yourself.
Behind me for other people going to said concert, and times like this, I love being Uptown Jenny.
Now don't you be paying that $100 for that parking. You better walk.
Right.
You better walk. But hey, getting into the festivities, we'll go ahead and let me get this banner going real quick. Hold on a second. It's gonna be our first one that we will be covering is our player of the week, Jerome Bettis. Now, I would like to start this off by saying that we all have heard of the egregious trades in history, right? My Texans pulled some BS and traded DeAndre Hopkins. We all know that, okay? Then we all know about the Herschel Walker trade, which is known as the Great Train Robbery. But very little is talked about another lopsided trade, and that's the Jerome Bettis trade. So on draft day of 1996, mind you, he was entering year 4. The Los Angeles Rams have felt that he was entering the downside of his career already, and they were transitioning to a more pass-happy offense. They had their sights set on Lawrence Williams. So on draft day 96, they traded him to the Steelers. The Steelers got Jerome Bettis and a 1996 third-round pick. The Rams got the Steelers' second-round pick in 96 and the fourth rounder in 1997. Now, this is known as a lopsided trade, because of what ended up happening. Lawrence Phillips, God rest his soul, it didn't really work out. And Jerome Bettis, of course, went on to become a Hall of Famer. But all told, behind him, what's he got? He's got 13,664 rushing yards. He's got 91 rushing touchdowns, 200 receptions, 1,457 receiving yards, 3 receiving touchdowns, Super Bowl champion in his final game in his career in his hometown of Detroit, and, of course, a Hall of Famer. So we're going to start this off and go around the horn. Let's start off with JJ because, you being a Ravens fan and having to face this guy, give us your thoughts on Jerome Bettis, type of player he was.
Jerome was the type of player that everybody wanted to lose weight, but you just couldn't deny how undeniably amazing he was at his size. He's not the bust for a reason. The man was trucking people. He was your goal line guy. I didn't like playing him, but it forced some of my best players on my team to get bigger and stronger if they wanted to be able to neutralize him every time he was lined up across from them. I.e. Ray Lewis when it came to him, and Eddie George. Great guy. I do not like that he came out with the ring because it's a rival. But if I had to pick a player that definitely gave his all for a team, and if you had to say happy he got a ring, I'm happy he got his ring. He's a focal point. He's an all around good man. He's an all around good guy who just is always active in the community, always pleasant when you talk to him. He didn't seem like he got out of character too much, but if he was angry, you know it. Big ups to the bus, Mr. Jerome the Bus Bettis. I'm glad you're not on the Pittsburgh Steelers anymore. But you know what? You do what you did, bruh.
All right, absolutely. And then let's swing on over to you, Dom. Hey, he's the hometown boy. Give us your thoughts on him.
Detroit native, Mackenzie High School, generously listed at 5'11", 252 pounds. I believe he was a few more cheeseburgers than that by the time that he retired. But surprisingly, for as much of a battering ram as he was, obviously he didn't have top-end speed, but it didn't take him long to get up to top speed, maybe because top speed was only, a fast walk. Nonetheless, one of the best ever, 8th all-time rushing. I was a big Jerome Bettis fan when he was still a Ram. And let's see, that was 1996, so I was about 16. I was pretty pissed that they made that trade, but right around then, like late 90s, early 2000s, that's when I started to get the sort of idea and appreciation for just how well-run the Steelers are as an organization. Like, probably the best in the league in my lifetime, and then some. I mean, they haven't been under 500 in how many years? 15, 17?
Right.
Not since Tomlin's been there. I mean, they've had 3 coaches in my life. I'm 41 years old. So, I mean, everybody knows about the bus. Even young guys like Will know about. What do you know about the bus, Will? Speak on it.
Man. Well, it's ironic because I lived in Europe, and right when I moved back to Charlotte, that was the first Super Bowl I ever watched, the 2005 Super Bowl. And I remember because my parents had to stay overseas to help organize stuff before they moved back. My sister and I flew back with my brother. We all stayed with the babysitter, who was our babysitter as kids when we first lived in Charlotte. Made us go to bed early, but I remember watching that Super Bowl briefly. But that Super Bowl team with Jerome Bettis, you got Hines Ward, Antoine Randall, you got Heath Miller, if I'm not wrong. You got Ben Roethlisberger, who's only in his second year. You got a good, solid defense. Troy Polamalu and a bunch of others. But that Super Bowl was amazing, and I remember just Jerome Bettis and those guys. I remember the Hines Ward, the Antoine Randall, the Hines Ward touchdown.
Hines Ward, yeah.
That was just amazing. But yeah, like you guys said, this guy was amazing. He's a Steelers Hall of Famer. He's in the Steelers Ring of Honor. He's His first year in Pittsburgh, he had a great year. He had 14,031 yards and 11 touchdowns. And in his first 6 years for the Steelers, he had 1,000 yards rushing. And I read a cool thing earlier about him post-retirement. This January, I think it was either this year or last year, he went back to Notre Dame to finish his bachelor's degree. So that's how dedicated he is. He didn't finish it while he was there, but he decided, hey, man, I'm retired. I have nothing else really to do besides probably like commercials and appearances for different things. Let me go back and get my degree. But overall, oh, man, he paved the way for big guys running the ball like Mike Allstott and
Right.
other big guys like like you can name so many big guys who ran the ball like after him. So thank you, Jerome Bettis. You were a hell of a player.
Awesome. And it's crazy you mentioned Notre Dame. Some of us on this thread are actually old enough to have watched him play at Notre Dame, University of Notre Dame. I remember when he was a Fighting Irish. But let's swing it on over to you, Jenny. Your thoughts on Jerome Bettis, our player of the week?
I remember watching Jerome Bettis. Like as soon as you mentioned we were talking about him, I was like the bus. Like I remember watching him because when you're, my dad had me really into football at a young age, but I was very busy as a teenager, and a young person, and so there was a lot I didn't pay attention to. I remember the bus vividly. And Will forgot to mention that in 1996, he was also the NFL Comeback Player of the Year.
Yes, he was. Absolutely
was. To me, all of that says, was it him or was it coaching with the Rams? I mean, with the Raiders. I'm sorry. So that's my question. Wait, who did he play for before? I forgot.
It was the Rams.
Rams. Okay, so I was right. Sorry. So was it him or the coaching? That's my question. Because if he's winning, a Super Bowl and a key component to winning that 95-96 Super Bowl, then I don't know. Just my question. But I remember watching him. I remember Hines Ward. I remember that Steelers team. Like, it was an epic team. I don't know. He was just amazing to watch. What a legacy. What a living legend. And I forgot who else mentioned it, but such a great guy. Like, I ran into him somewhere, and he was just really nice, super amiable. It was a 45-second conversation at most. But, because I'm that girl that, like, I can meet Julia Roberts, I'm fine. You give me a football player, and I'm like, ooh. So, yeah, I'm an idiot.
Can I point something out real quick? I'm surprised. I'm not trying to bring up a sour point. I'm surprised Dom didn't bring up the controversial coin flip.
Oh, go ahead, Dom.
I had briefly forgot about that. Yeah, didn't he say he said heads, tails, or he was like
He
heads,
said
no tails. Yeah, he definitely tried to change it mid flip. Also, little known fact about Jerome Bettis, the proud owner of 15 or 20. He's a tremendous bowler. He's got 15 or 20 300 games in his life.
Oh wow!
Wow, nice. Yes. He is he's a beast out there in them lanes. A lot of people don't know that, but I mean, it's hard enough to throw a 300 game, but to have that many, dude, that's nuts.
I'm not even close ever.
I've never even broke 200 pins.
Shit, man, that's crazy. That's
the best
straight.
The best in bowling is a 175.
I think mine might have been a 180.
I was gonna say, if you don't curve the ball, you max out at 185. I know because I've done it a dozen times.
Right.
I can't get into bowling like that.
My shining moment is this trophy I won for my family because I finished in third.
What I do with bowling takes it out of being a sport. I don't know what I do with bowling, but it's not athletic.
Well, we gotta segue into our next segment, guys. So the next one we're gonna cover here is Baker Mayfield. Dom, you should like this one. So he put out there that he has felt disrespected as of late because he felt that he was told one thing and the Browns went on and did another. He was told he was going to be the starter in 2022, and then they went out there and they went for Deshaun Watson and obviously landed him. I think it is a foregone conclusion that he is going to get traded sometime during the season. But I do want to go around the horn. We'll start off with you, JJ. Is he justified, number one, in feeling disrespected? And number two, where do you think he ends up?
So it's very interesting that this is coming about because in his first couple years, Hugh Jackson felt like he was the same way, being told that he's one thing and the next thing you know, he was replaced and got out. So it's almost like everything comes full circle. Honestly, I would say cut your losses, accept what it is. This is a business. And to be honest with you, I don't know how many more instances we're going to see the NFL, quote unquote, being shady for you to not be surprised that they were this to you. Like, real talk, you should have known your days were numbered because there were questions about you before Deshaun Watson was even a thought. It wasn't as if you were clear cut, you did this, and then they just went after him. No, they were looking to, I think they had interest in Russell Wilson. They were looking for viable options to replace you. To be honest with you, Baker, this does come off as you were a little spoiled. You thought that you was the guy. You thought that getting them to the first playoff win in 20-some years was going to be enough to keep you around for as long as possible. And no shade, but every business, not just in NFL, but in the entire world, most business owners are going to lie to your face. Like, they really are going to lie to your face and say that you're one. Of course, they're not going to tell you we're looking for somebody else, whatever, because they want you to know that they want to keep. It's just how they want this image. But at the end of the day, it goes back to Resident Evil first one. We are all expendable assets, and I think Baker found out how expendable of an asset he really is. And now he's acting out.
And Dom, what do you think, man?
Where do you think he's going, though, JJ? Oh, never mind.
Oh, we're coming back.
My bad.
Baker, if you're
My bad.
watching, go ahead, JJ.
Sorry about
Where do you
that.
think he's going?
Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know because number one, I've kind of been in basketball mode for the last 3 months, so I haven't really got a chance to really look at the playing field. I follow my team, I follow some moves and stuff like that. But as far as ideal destination, I will say this: wherever he goes, it's not like, oh, I'm here and I'm the starter from here on out, whatever. It's you're going to be there and you may be the projected starter, but you still have to win it and keep it.
Right. All right, on to you, Don.
Baker, if you're watching, you're a borderline bust. You can't carry Josh Allen's jock strap. You were a terrible reach at number one, and you've been playing hero ball your whole career. The only thing you were ever lauded for was your accuracy, and you've had more than one season under 60%. Under 60%. That's goddamn Cam Newton territory. Sorry, Jen.
We'll chat later, Dom.
As far as him feeling disrespected, basically no right to say that. If you were smart enough, if you spent a little bit more time, I don't know, watching game film, working on your accuracy, playing less hero ball, making the clutch one or two throws when you needed to instead of making commercials, and maybe spend a little more time looking over your shoulder, worrying about your future, you wouldn't be in this position. Also, keep this in mind, Baker. You were a first-round draft pick by the Cleveland Browns. If you get even so much as the opportunity to go somewhere else and be a starter again, count every one of your fucking lucky stars.
So where do you think he ends up?
I don't know. I mean, you hear rumors about Seattle. If I was DK, I'd be like, if you get Baker Mayfield and you think you're going to run him out there, trade me. No one wants Baker Mayfield throwing him the ball. Well, does he have? Are any of his receivers from Oklahoma in the league right now? Maybe one of those teams.
CD.
Maybe, but
CD.
Yeah. Two. Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood Brown.
Ooh. Dallas is interesting, but oh wait, they're currently being crippled by that Dak Prescott contract.
And he ain't coming
Seattle
here.
maybe, or I don't know, Miami. I could see him. I mean, I don't know what happens this year, but like Detroit might be in play next year. I don't want it to be, but it's a possibility. I don't know. I don't know what his market is right now. I don't think it's as a starter, not right away.
Okay, I hear that, but I mean, I think it's a fair assessment that he's going to have to go and earn a job wherever he goes. Me personally, I think that if he goes, because I've got Seattle top on my list, I do think that they'll make him compete for the job. But a part of me is like, who else are they going to put? Geno Smith? Are we going to say Geno Smith's better than Baker?
Geno Smith threw 5 touchdowns and only 1 pick last year. I mean, we know it's still Geno Smith, but it's like
still Geno Smith.
Even if you went and got him, then you're like, Drew Lock, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, just kill me.
Let's swing on over to Will. Will, what are your thoughts about this whole thing? Why do you think he's justified in feeling disrespected? And where do you think he ends up?
No, he shouldn't. No, he shouldn't feel disrespected because the Browns have been looking probably for a quarterback since the second year, third year, whenever his struggles really, really, really began. But like, any NFL quarterback should know, like, your job is always in jeopardy unless you're like a top tier quarterback like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, so on and so forth. But no, like literally, you have been playing. You've only led your team to 1 playoff win, I'm pretty sure, or two, I think. But still, like, you shouldn't feel disrespected. Even though Deshaun didn't play for a year, Deshaun before the suspension was a good quarterback. But like, you need to learn, like, you are always under pressure no matter what. Like,
absolutely.
I bet you the Browns have been looking at quarterbacks for a while, ever since they drafted you, just in case that scenario arises. Like in previous drafts, like, what if this, what if that, like, and also, yeah, I think he needs to be mature about this. I think saying you're disrespected is stupid. If I had to guess where he would go, I would say Seattle. And you know what? If not Seattle, I've heard rumblings of Tampa Bay going behind Tom Brady because they said, if you want a starting job again, you'll have to learn from the best and learn under a good quarterback.
That's true. All right, Jenny, what about you? Where do you think he ends up? Does he feel rightful for feeling disrespected?
Damn, Jen,
Yes,
don't
he
hurt
feels
him.
right to be disrespected because he was lied to. Like, straight up, he was lied to.
Yeah.
Like, I had a boss lie to me for years on end. Loved him. He overinflated the truth. Sorry, I got a bunch of Yahoo girls going behind me. And that's a betrayal. That's disrespect.
You're really going to sit here and take up for Baker?
I'm taking up for that feeling of him feeling disrespected. Because Matt Rule came out and lied about Greg Olsen and Cam Newton after he fired their asses. And so, yeah, no. And who's to say that they can't, that he's not going to play for the Browns next year because Deshaun hasn't been suspended by the league yet.
Not yet.
I think they're going to wait and see what happens.
Nothing down there yet. However, Dom, you're not going to like this. For me, the top 2 places he'll end up are the Lions and the Seahawks. In recent events, the Steelers are back in this conversation too for sad events that have taken place. But I will say, if anyone from the national sports media is watching, stop pushing the Carolina Mayfield situation. It ain't happening. Mutual disinterest, people. Mutual disinterest.
You think we want them?
They suck. Really want to play for Matt Rule? No, it's a secret.
Will made a very good point when he said top tier quarterbacks. And that's why he feels so disrespected, because Baker, I don't know who else agrees with him, maybe some of his family members. Baker thinks he's a top tier quarterback.
Well, he's done better than
He's
any
not.
other quarterback for the Browns in how long? But I agree, he's not top tier.
But
he
Yeah.
has done better for the Browns than anybody else.
And you know what? Two things indeed can be true, and I'm gonna pass it to JJ. One, he isn't a top tier quarterback, but also he's the best they've had since Kozar. We all know this.
To your point, and I think that's where it comes full circle with her, with Jen saying he's disrespected, is that after they won the playoff game last year, after they made the playoffs for the first time in 20 plus years, they were really salivating, saying, finally, we have the guy that we can build around. We have the guy that we know that we can do this with. And did he have a bad year? Did he have a rough year? Yeah, he could argue that. But I think to his point, the disrespect is, you're not giving me a chance to try to rebound. Obviously, we were doing something different, because at first we were nothing. Then you got me and Myles Garrett and all this stuff, and then we became a little bit of something because they were the hype team to win the division last year.
Right.
And then I honestly think I'm looking at Cleveland. I think Cleveland panicked when they saw Lamar Jackson had an unhealthy team, went 8-3, and then finished 8-8 or 8-9. Joe Burrow just made the Super Bowl. The Steelers finished with a better record than the Browns. They looked at that as like, you know what? We need somebody that's going to be able to compete with those guys, because at head-to-head matchups, Cleveland owned Cincinnati, but they struggled with Baltimore and had 1-1. I honestly think this was kind of reactionary. So I get where she's coming from. We say he's feeling disrespected. I guess I'm always operating on as if I see something happen to other people and stuff, I'm not going to think I'm exempt.
Right.
Like, I'm going to think that.
I will say they did kind of do him dirty last year, running him out there when he was injured. Like, I thought Baker was going to finish the season either in a body cast or a wheelchair.
Yeah.
That leads to disrespect, because she's like, I'm laying my body on the line, and
he's still a bum and a prima donna.
I don't even think he's a prima
Okay,
donna
his commercials
anymore.
are funny though. I mean, legit, you got to give the dude credit. The commercials are.
His commercials are great. You know what's not great? His completion percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Touchdown to interception ratio.
Last year, he did have to deal with his own Ben Simmons drama and the name of LBJ. What's his name? I forgot.
OBJ.
I don't like him.
I thought you were talking about LeBron. No, Odell Beckham.
The other LB. Oh yeah, OBJ. Sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot his name. I haven't liked him since 2015, but because he and his daddy came out and totally attacked him, pretty much unprovoked. Like, Baker was completely blindsided, supposedly. And how much, if they were doing that publicly, what was going on in that locker room with OBJ? And you can ask Will. For a while, I've said I thought OBJ was carcinogenic in a locker room.
Yeah, you have.
I hope that Baker Mayfield got called every white racial slur in the book, because he deserves all of it.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah,
he's a bum.
I wouldn't go that far. All right, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the midway portion of the show. I'm pretty sure you see it on the ticket at the bottom. So, Dom, explain what's going on with the Score No Score app.
Score No Score app. It's sports betting for dummies, something that Joseph can no longer call himself because he's no longer a sports betting dummy. It's live in-game betting. It's Major League Baseball and the NFL. You can bet on the next play, the next batter. You can go in there when Jacob deGrom's arm is still attached in one piece and bet on how many guys he's going to strike out in that inning. It's pretty cool. They give you coins so you can go in and play with a lot of their money and very little of your own money. And, like, it's pretty cool. It's actually really cool.
All right, and as I've said, and I'll run the ticker again sometime during the show as well. It's going to be the Score No Score app. You can go and visit your app store, whether you got Apple or Android, and just go ahead and download it and give it a try. It's hot, it's new, it's hip. All right, so we're going to segue on to the next topic, and that is an earth-shattering news that Deebo Samuel of the San Francisco 49ers has requested a trade. He wants out of San Francisco. Maybe not necessarily out of California, but he definitely wants out of the red and gold. He entered in talks a few weeks before about wanting a new deal. I don't know what transpired back there. Maybe a cat hiss and a dog bark, but all of a sudden he wants out. So, JJ, we'll start off with you. Deebo Samuel. Where do you think he ends up? Where would you like for him to end up?
Not here. Let me just make that very clear. Okay.
Hey, that rhymed.
Obviously, because and speaking on this, I'm in the Ravens group. Every time a receiver requests a trade, every time a receiver is supposed to be a free agent, oh my God, we need him. Whatever. No, he's not coming to Baltimore. Doesn't need to come to Baltimore because he needs to go to a team that, honestly, in my opinion, I don't think he needs to go anywhere. I think the issue is I don't think the 49ers are not trying to pay him. I think he wants to get paid as more of a wide receiver type money than a running backs type money, which is what he was used as a wide receiver and a running back. I don't think the issue is San Fran doesn't want to keep him here or doesn't think he's worth whatever money, that big time money. I think it's just a matter of, I know the pay scales are different. He wants to get paid like a wide receiver gets paid. And based off of how many, I think the snaps and how he's played, he may qualify to get paid running back money, but that's not the same as their money.
It's like the Jimmy
Chris
Graham
Johnson,
franchise tag situation.
Chris Johnson is a longtime San Francisco 49ers fan, and he made it perfectly clear. He's like, the only type of teams that actually will use him in a way that is similar to what we're doing is Miami and New York Jets. And so outside of those two teams, now it's like this. If he goes to a team where he's being treated as a big-time wide receiver, you better show up as a big-time wide receiver because you would be looked at as, okay, this is what you want, and this is what you say you are. But if he goes to a team and he doesn't show up as that big-time wide receiver, they're going to be looking at San Francisco like, hey, you really moved the bag on this one. He did a good, you were right. Moving forward. That's not my problem anymore. That's your problem. But if you really just wanted to just get out of San Francisco and get a place where you can still get big money and probably go, then yeah, I think Miami is a great destination, or the Jets. Give him a team with a young quarterback who still has a chance to show that he's better than what he puts out, because I think Jimmy G is who he is. Mm-hmm. And Tua still has another year or two to kind of show that he may be more. So.
All right. Excellent points. Now, I will say this much, and just one quick question. If he goes to the Jets, do you see him as successful with Zach Wilson as he was with Jimmy G?
Not in the first year. I don't. I think it's got to be. You got to kind of level it out. Like, you have to understand that you coming into this Jets team is not going to automatically turn this Jets team into some great powerhouse. They still need a lot more pieces in there, particularly on the line, and to maybe add a dynamic running back, or a running back that's at least legitimate enough to be able to carry the load. So I don't think you're going to come in thinking like, oh, boom, I'm here. We about to get 1,400 yards receiving and 10-plus touchdowns. I can see that in the future, but not the immediate. And I think we live in a world where it's all about the immediate. It's not about the future. It's about the right now. What you're going to do at this place right now.
Absolutely. Dom, swing it over to you. What you think, bro?
Allegedly, the Lions have been rumored as another potential landing spot, like us, the Jets. True. But we've got the draft capital to acquire him. Do I want him? Not particularly. For the way that he's acting already, because I'm absolutely sorry. I like Deebo Samuel a lot. He's a dynamic playmaker, but this rumor hasn't been substantiated. Supposedly, he wants that wide receiver money, but he wants to cut back on his number of carries like to almost none. He doesn't want to do that anymore, and I don't necessarily blame him because it'll put a lot of mileage on your body a lot more quickly. Did you see him at the end of that playoff game last year?
Yeah.
He looked like an extra on The Walking Dead. As far as where he ends up, I'm not sure. I don't particularly want him in Detroit. I want to use our draft picks on other things. And especially since he's going to want a hefty pay raise, it makes no more sense for us to go get Debo than it did to, say, re-up on Kenny Galladay. There's absolutely no reason to be paying a wide receiver that kind of money in a team that's in year 2 of a full rebuild. Plus, I like our wide receiving core, and I don't.
Can I ask you
Sure.
one question, Don?
Sure.
Would you trade for Debo? Or would you trade for DK Metcalf with Seattle?
Neither, because DK is a diva. I like his talent. I don't like his attitude. He's been in the league, 3 years? He acts like he's a 10-time All-Pro. He's very good, and he has great moments, but he's another one where if DK was as good as DK thinks DK is, he'd be sweet. I mean, he is sweet, but he'd be top 3, top 5 if he had as much talent as he would try to tell you that he does. And I like DK Metcalf.
I hear that. All right, Will, swing it over to you, man. Your thoughts about the Debo Samuel situation?
He's going to Carolina.
It's crazy. Like, he's a great player and all, but I don't know why. Like, he's a phenomenal player. He's a great player. He's fast. He can catch. But personally, he's not like top 3 receivers in the league. 3 receiver in the league. Even though he wants to get paid like that, he's obviously not a top 3 receiver, top 5, maybe borderline top 5. But it just, he needs to learn that you need to grow more as a player. Like, sure, he's been good for San Francisco, but do you deserve this super high pay raise? Not yet. Maybe eventually, but we need to see more. Where he ends up, I would say probably, I agree with JJ, a young quarterback. Maybe like I agree, the Jets, or I saw James said the Eagles would be really interesting. Him, Devontae Smith would be really interesting.
Get ready, Lord.
Just somewhere where there's a young quarterback where would need to learn patience and not have a guy who's been in the league as long as Jimmy G has, who's like 30 something. Have him go to a team with a young quarterback who's still developing and will have hopefully many years in the NFL, as opposed to a quarterback like Jimmy G, who's probably got maybe, I don't know, 5 to 7 more years in the NFL. Nothing major, but yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right, Jenny, on over to you. What do you think about the Debo situation? Where do you say he ends up? He going to the Panthers or what?
I kind of want him in the Panthers, but I'm very happy with our wide receiving core. I do think he would follow the rest of the team leaders in that he may not listen to the coach. But, he does deserve money, but he doesn't deserve the money he wants at this point in his career because he still needs to keep showing. And if he's already, like we were saying earlier, or someone was saying a few minutes ago, 3 years in, and he's like, oh, I don't want to carry as much, then why do you want that money?
True.
I mean, you deserve it. If you want to take a step back, and that's in any job, anywhere, you want to take a little less responsibility, honey, you ain't getting paid. You ain't getting those Benjamins.
I mean, can we be honest? Christian Kirk fucked it up for everybody.
No, the Jacksonville Jaguars messed it up for everybody. Them the ones that's paying them the money.
True.
Are you saying Christian C-Mac deal effed it up for everybody?
And Christian Kirk.
There you go, Jenny.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, because see, James, I said the exact same thing. I looked at my husband and said, "We can fire James in 4 years, but we can't fire Matt."
Now you know that means you're going to have to start out like 1-4 instead of 4-1, right? Just be prepared. If you want him fired, you got to start out bad.
You know, well, you
As
know
a
that's
Lions
why we
fan, I've
need-
seen this happen.
You know that's why we want Sam starting, right?
But Jen speaks to something I think is a very interesting point, and then Jay, I really want to get your opinion on that as well too. Is that what led to this phenomenal year? Him being a pure wide receiver, or him being a switchblade wide receiver / running back hybrid? Because the way I see it is, he may be thinking, I made it work with Jimmy G, quarterback. But Kyle Shanahan is one of the most offensively genius minds in this game. So you could go to a team that may have a better quarterback, but a lesser offensive scheme, and your production will drop because of that. So at the end of the day, I think we do. Are we being honest about what has made him phenomenal?
Yeah.
Is he phenomenal as a pure wide receiver? Because when he's a pure wide receiver, his numbers were good, but they weren't like this. It wasn't until he started being used as a switchblade all over the field that he became a record all-pro year type level wide receiver. So it's almost like it's very tricky with him.
And you know, I'm gonna say this, and then I'll switch it over because I know you asked Dom the same question. I will say he had a year like this because keep in mind, Raheem Mostert was hurt all year long. He had to fill his role. You know what I mean? And when you're doing that, then of course you're gonna go. Your scrimmage yards is gonna go off the hook. Now, once again, before Mostert was hurt when he was playing, Debo was getting carries, but not like this, like you said. You know, and if Mostert plays
preseason,
and he got hurt in the preseason, he was on IR all year long. You know, so Debo's been that guy back there. Now, if he would have opted to stay in San Francisco and Raheem Mostert coming back, then of course we could feature him in a primarily more receiver role, and then just kind of switchblade him out
To your point, though, who was the last? San Francisco 49ers made the Super Bowl and almost won, and did not have a legit number one wide receiver as their guy.
Right.
So can you to Dom's point from an earlier show, they built through the trenches, and that's the fueling force for them to be able to sustain. So in their mind, they're thinking like, yeah, if you want the money, go elsewhere. That's fine. We'll trade you. We believe in ourselves to know because we've made it further. We made an NFC championship game. And to be honest with you, Kyle's offensive genius has kind of catapulted you to this level that you are now.
Right.
So
I would offer him 18. I would offer him 18 mil a year. If he doesn't take it, I'd be like, we're trading you. We've got Mostert coming back. We've got Elijah Mitchell who's almost 1,000-yard back. We don't need you to carry the ball 100 times.
I saw James's comment about he deserves everything. He's phenomenal. I kind of then leaned to Dom's point. The 49ers trenches has been the best part of their game on the offensive and defensive side for the last 5 or 6 years, and it's been a huge boost because the year when they went struggle and they went like 7-9 or whatever. What do we say? Injuries to the defensive line, injuries to the offensive line, injuries to the defensive line. They get defense. They get these guys back, and they make an NFC title game. And he became a lot better in his game as well because these guys were coming back. I think the 49ers are really more old school in their approach, and they're making it work in the era that we're in. And so they're thinking like, no, as long as we can keep this core of the trenches intact because we know guys are going to need to get paid. We let DeForest Buckner go, and they still made an NFC title game by letting him go. So I get where Dom is saying that a lot of the production that these guys are getting is because of the trenches and the philosophy that has been embedded in this culture for the San Francisco 49ers since John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan got together.
Right. Right on. Well, I think this is a time to segue into our next topic, and that is the debut last week of as soon as it comes up on here, of the United States Football League, fresh from the 1980s, and it has made its return. They've been showing games on Fox Sports 1, on USA, and on NBC, and surprisingly, the first week actually had some pretty close games. Houston beat Michigan 17-12. That game came down to a Hail Mary that was almost, he only had 1 foot in. but Michigan almost beat Houston, and then New Orleans had beat Philadelphia 23-17. On that Friday night, Birmingham beat New Jersey 20-24 on a last-minute touchdown, and Tampa Bay beat Pittsburgh 17-3. So let's get the obvious out of the way. We know it's not the NFL, you know. I'll just give my thoughts about this really quick, and I'll give it over to JJ Jenkins. I like the fact that these guys have somewhere to go if they don't get drafted. You know, this kind of lets them know, like, hey, it's not over with. Mind you, and I know that there's been few and far between cases, but I'm going to bring up Tommy Maddox, okay? Tommy Maddox was in the first iteration of the XFL. He won the XFL title. He was the MVP. He went on to become the Steelers starter. As a matter of fact, he was the last established starter before Roethlisberger. And the man was halfway decent in the league. So that's not sitting here to say that when these guys can't get picked up. Me personally, I'm for the players. I like that they got somewhere to go if they do not get drafted into the NFL, and perhaps they can go out there and show skills and possibly get a tryout. So, I mean, whether you watch it or not, but just want to hear you guys' thoughts. We'll go around the horn. JJ, what do you think about the USFL?
I'm gonna be very, 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 very honest about this.
Good.
I haven't watched a game because I've been focused on the NBA and the playoffs. So I'm going to just say I'm going to tune in later, but I'm going to pass this to Dom because I can't give a real interested thought because I haven't seen anything. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no. It's all good.
Don't be sorry. That's humble of you to admit.
Yeah, it is,
I have not followed. So, Dom?
Well, hang on. Before we go to Dom, you can answer something. What do you think of the concept of an alternate pro football league?
Okay, I do. Okay, in that case, yeah. Okay, I do like it because it does give a chance for guys to keep working for. They don't go to the Canadian Football League or any other Euro League and think they can get back here. Whereas this is a developmental league for guys that are trying to really, like those on the cusp guys that think you're just there, but you need a little bit more work. That approach. I don't know if they're directly tied to certain teams, like they have that agreements and things like that. But if they did, then that's fantastic. And I do like the idea of it because, it's needed. Everybody should deserve a chance to see if they can work hard to get to a level. You may never going to get it when you get there. Nobody gets there and automatically has it. And even the ones that have it, they still got to go through something where they realize that they don't have it and got to re-get it back. So I like that if it's a developmental league to allow players get a chance to come up into the NFL.
All right. Dom, it's on you. What's up, brother?
I like what JJ said and what you said. I like the idea of it being a developmental league. Me personally, I do not like the fact that Jeff Fisher is our head coach. Our two quarterbacks are Shea Patterson and Paxton Lynch. We lost today 10-6. 10-6. And Houston beat us last week 17-12. We've either missed all of our extra points or gone for two and converted none of those times. I still haven't. I meant to look before the show. I wanted to look at all the rosters and see what kind of names, as far as guys that didn't get drafted, guys that had a cup of coffee and are still trying to hang around. But like I said, I love the fact that it has the opportunity to be something like a D League. I miss World League football and NFL Europe because a lot of good players came out of there. And I mean, not like the XFL. That was kind of a joke other than Rod Smart. But yeah, I'm all for it. I didn't know until a few months ago. I thought that maybe there was a chance that I was going to get USFL credentials and be at Michigan Panthers postgame pressers, but all the games are in Alabama. So maybe next year. We'll see. I just like that there's pro football on several more months per year. Go ahead, Will.
And mind you, the USFL ends approximately a month before NFL preseason. So it's great timing. All right, Will, on you. What are your thoughts about the United States Football League?
So I agree. I think it's awesome that it's a developmental league for young players or players who have played in the NFL and then go back and try and prove and hone on their skills and say, hey, I can make a roster. I was in the NFL. I got cut. I went back, developed my skills. Look at me now. I got better.
Justin Blackman, here's your chance.
Guys who played who are in this league that I kept an eye on. Like, I know you brought up Shea Patterson, Dom, but this guy was the first pick in the USFL. He went to Michigan. He was he's number one in Michigan passing yards per game. In the final regular season game, he topped Tom Brady for passing yards total at Michigan. Hard to believe, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And now
Kyle
Jeff Fisher's
Lauletta,
his
one of the
coach.
best FCS quarterbacks, won Senior Bowl MVP, only threw 5 passes in the NFL. Scooby Wright, who played in the AAF and the XFL, they said this is good that he's playing the USFL because it's prepared. Those 2 previous stops have prepared him for something like this. Eli Rogers, ironically, is playing for his old offensive coordinator, Todd Healy. He played for the Steelers under Todd Healy and now is playing under Todd Healy with the Tampa Bay Bandits. But yeah, this is basically a tryout or a place where you can go if you don't make the NFL. Like, it's like Dom said, it's like the G League or D League in the NBA, or G League now it's called. And then there's some guys who've been in the NFL who dipped their toes in the NFL, who want to go play in this league and are hopefully trying to get back in the NFL. So it's an interesting concept. I haven't really paid attention to it. I probably will soon, but yeah, it's a good idea.
Awesome. All right, Jenny, what about you?
I'm a big fan of the USFL. And I think, and James, I saw your comment. I'll comment on that in a minute. But but like Will was saying, it's an opportunity for you to get cut, come back, get cut. Sam Mills, just saying, and 2 local Hall of Fames about to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year in August. If anybody can get me, credentials to Canton this year, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, same here, Jed.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great opportunity to learn. I did like some of the rules from the XFL, though. That being said, I liked how a lot of it had to go to the booth to get a review and not just on the field calls. Like, it took a little bit longer, but I like the accurate calls. And James, for you, getting fired for asking for a pizza instead of chicken salad. And then and that was Davion Smith, who used to be with WFT Commanders. Now he's with the Maulers, but he's saying that the coach said he'd vouch for him, and now apparently he and the coach are talking about him being reinstated on the Maulers. So who knows? But that's hilarious. It's hilariously sad, but it's still kind of funny. Sorry.
Right.
That is hilarious.
But again,
if he got fired,
they're going back to the respect thing because I'm all about respect.
I have no job.
I mean, it's
Right.
all about respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
He broke 3 rules, which is what he was told after the fact. Then how can he know to correct his actions?
Right.
And if one is a pizza versus chicken salad, like, come on, dude, we're talking about a professional athlete.
Right.
I mean, he may have to go to the bathroom a little bit longer because of the cheese buildup, but that's his personal business. So really leave it alone.
Absolutely.
We're at the pizza. It's carbs. It's what they can get. They can knock that out in one session, in one workout session. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, again. We're in the last 5 minutes of the show, so we're going to segue into our final, which is a fan favorite. It shows our human side. This is non-sports related topic. So I had one. So last night I went to go see The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the new Nick Cage movie, and it actually was funnier than I thought. It was actually way funnier than I thought. But I wanted to go around the horn and state your favorite Nick Cage movie and why. Or if you hate the guy, state why.
Give me 1 second. I'm blanking on the name.
No shade. I've got to think about Nicolas Cage, and I haven't done that in a long time. So let me think. Okay. I like Gone in 60 Seconds.
Nice. Good pick.
Loved that movie just because it was just I was a kid. I enjoyed Nicolas Cage. I was gonna go Ghost Rider, but I put that off because it is what it is. But Gone in 60 Seconds, I was just as a kid, you're thinking like these flashy new cars, these different new security systems, and then you got an all-star cast where you got Angelina Jolie, you got a couple other people there. Just how he was kind of a good guy doing bad things, and he was, and the only reason why is he was trying to show his brother that you're not me.
Right.
You're not this person. You think you are, but because you think you are, I got to go back to being me to get you out of this mess. And I love that movie. And plus, me and my dad went to go see it. It was one of our father and son moments. And so I like that movie. And then I would say National Treasure 1 and 2 is like after that.
Okay, then Dom, what about you?
Gone in 60 Seconds, probably my favorite as well. Although I got to say, overall, Nicolas Cage, he's had a handful of really good movies, a dozen or so meh, and quite a few really bad ones. You ever see Wicker Man?
No.
Isn't that not the Beast one?
Dom, what's
Isn't
the
that
movie
not the Beast one?
Mm-hmm. I think so. The Wicker Man. What's the one where he switched up with John Travolta?
Face Off.
Face Off. That's
That
another
was
one of his really good ones. I'm not a huge Nick Cage fan, but he's definitely made some good movies. Well,
you know, I mean, like as far as Face Off goes, like, I mean, dude, yeah, we're talking about Nick Cage films, but bro, that was just John Woo. John Woo was a beast.
I forgot. We forgot about. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna leave it to them. I'm gonna see if y'all say it because I forgot about one of my favorite movies of all time with him and somebody else that I love as an actor. But I'll be quiet. I'm gonna see if Will and Jen and you.
You know what's a very weird but movie is? Did you guys ever see the super movie Kick-Ass?
Yes.
Teenagers and stuff.
Yes.
He was underrated, wasn't he? Like
he was the Dallas Store Batman.
He was hilarious.
He was something dad,
good.
but he looked like Batman. I forget what his name was.
Yeah, he was the Dallas Store Batman. I forgot what his name was in the film too. But
he looked like Batman. I think that was one of his most underrated movies. I thought he was really funny. He was chill, whatever. And then, yeah, you got to go National Treasure. My favorite line is probably somebody stole the Declaration of Independence. Like, come on, guys! Like, someone stole the Declaration of Independence. No,
hey,
Jen, I would have to say those two.
Those two, Jen. What do you got?
All right. First off, you don't like Gone in 60 Seconds, and I don't know why I was blanking on Gone in 60 Seconds title because I was remembering the helicopter scene. Freaking love that scene, and
he's gone.
He's gone. I'm driving a helicopter.
Well, the stuff can drive. It's probably mostly just the car.
But also Lord of War. That was a really good one too.
Nice.
And it's with especially, and I know it's all like fictional and everything, but it's kind of ironic to me that it was also filmed in the Ukraine and based out of the Ukraine. So
yeah,
just saying.
Huh. And you said you were going to say something, JJ? Go ahead.
I cannot believe I forgot The Rock. I honestly cannot believe I forgot The Rock with Sean Connery when they were escaping Alcatraz. Because to be honest with you,
I forgot he was.
I remember my family and I used to have Friday night movie nights with me, my mom, and my brother. And I remember watching The Rock and being clued in because you hear about Alcatraz being the most difficult place to escape, and then you got Nicolas Cage, and then you got Sean Connery, who, in my opinion, is the GOAT male actor and a long stretch for a long time. It was just one.
Side note: Sean Connery apparently had really bad BO.
I heard
really.
Really bad BO.
I've heard the same thing about Post.
I guess they all got a drawback.
I've heard the same thing about Post Malone.
Right. I heard about
that. Does not surprise me, but I would go see him in concert.
I just remember to your point. I just remember the clip in The Rock where Sean Connery was going through the fire and he was rolling through, and Nicolas Cage was just in awe that he actually was able to like just go through it. And I remember, I cannot believe I forgot The Rock because that is also one of my favorite movies too.
I saw The Rock in the theater. My mom, Carol's a huge Sean Connery mark.
Don't get mad. I haven't seen Gone in 60 Seconds, but isn't the meme with The Rock like turning back in the car?
You need to
No,
watch
that
Gone
was-
in 60
That
Seconds,
was
Will.
Race
No, that
Against
was something
Math.
else.
Wasn't that?
Well,
something
you need
else?
to watch Gone in 60
You haven't
Seconds.
seen Gone in 60 Seconds?
Watch it tonight,
No.
my friend. Watch
I
it
was gonna
tonight.
turn on TNT. Wait a few days. It'll be on.
It'll be on. It's always on TNT. Always
I'm
on
I'm
TNT.
watching
why
the
James-
NBA playoffs.
Why James thinks he's white?
I have.
What about him is so like to the point about National Treasure? It came
I'm
out.
gonna put
at
it up
the
there
same time.
again.
It came out at the same time the Da Vinci Code came out,
Mhm.
and I tend to like that over the Da Vinci Code as far as like a total 1 and 2. Although the first Da Vinci Code was my favorite. I liked the first
That's a
one.
good one. That's a really good one.
Now, I would say I'll say mine, and we got to wrap it up. Most definitely, The Rock is second, but most definitely Con Air. Con Air was
one.
just
Oh my
man.
God! Forget about
That-
Con Air.
Con Air is in my top 5 all time of movies. It was perfect. It was flawless. I thought
It's
Nick
the
Cage
song,
did
isn't
awesome. But it wasn't not just that. It's like 10%. That's like 10%. But the Bunny Rabbit. That's what put it over the top. But
Yeah, right.
but see, not only that, with Nick Cage, because Nick Cage has something. He had an answer for everybody in there. They had Ving Rhames, John Malkovich. Like, dude, I still remember lines and quotables like to this day. That's in my top 5. But as far as Nick Cage films, definitely the best one. I mean, you can't. I actually had a thought one time if they would ever remake that film, but I was like, but no, you can't touch it. Just don't. Just leave it alone. Don't try to remake it or anything like that. Like, just leave it.
You're right. Con Air's better than Gone in 60 Seconds. It really is.
It was just. I mean, it was phenomenal. But we have reached the end of the show. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll go around the horn. JJ, where can everybody find you at?
Oh, look at that. We are here. It is I on the co-host, newly co-host with my man Tyler on the Gauntlet. I am going to live to see another day, Mr. John Scher, because the Dallas Mavericks are going to be on the NBA carousel, so I will be kind of breaking them down. You will see me on the sip-off on Thursdays, and in time over the next couple months, like to get on the other shows for the Sideline Sports Network, Sports Arena, NFL Carousel when it kicks back up. And then you can find me on Facebook, JJ Jenkins, Twitter. I'll get back to you on that one, but you can find me wherever.
All right, Dom, where can they find you at?
Detroit_Dom1 on Twitter. Here on Saturdays with my horsemen and our new 5th horseman, 4.5, 5th horseman. 7:00. Mondays, the carousel hosted by Megan Price. That's at 7 or 8. I can't keep it all straight. We have so many shows.
8. It's 8.
8 Thursdays, kneecap biting with Smoke and Jeremy B. That's all things Lions. Sundays, Basket Bros. Myself, Will, Jay, Jacob Christner, 8 p.m. Holla.
Will, where can they find you at, bro?
Monday nights, NBA Carousel. Thursday nights, the sip-off. Saturday nights, occasionally on here. Sunday, Basket Bros with Dom DeRubis, Jay, and Jacob Christner.
All right, Jenny, where can they find you at?
First of all,
You better say the new show. You better say it.
You know I'm going to, but I wanted to thank you guys for inviting me on. I really appreciate it, Jay and Dom. I really truly appreciate it, and Tyler and James. Thank you guys, and JJ. Thank you for having me.
He was waiting. He was waiting for it.
JJ, thank you for allowing me on your inaugural show. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Dom.
Oh no! I said thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Shout out for Dom for not cutting people off too much.
Oh. Where can they find you at, Jenny?
Okay, and then this past Tuesday was the inaugural launch of 2 of my podcast with my girls Megan and Carrie.
Oh, them 3's up.
And Chief's Chick. 3 chicks in a pod. We had phenomenal ratings for the first episode. I'd like to meet them this week. So tune in Tuesday night, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. And y'all can do the math from there because I can't. But
4:30 on the West Coast.
I know, right? Then we can do then I have the NBA Carousel that I contribute as part of, and I also produce on Monday nights, the NFL carousel during the season, Tuesday nights at 11 p.m., along with our other producer, Mr. Denzel, aka Jay Nielsen, the Cubfidential. And then we also have I'm on occasionally on the Sip Off and on the and tonight, thank you for letting me on here. Sorry, brain dead. I usually have that little post-it note up.
You got Billy Joel on your mind right now.
I really
That's what
do.
it is. That's
I
Billy
know.
Joel. So yeah, let's go ahead and get us out of here. Shout out Craig Davis, Marshall.
Uptown Girl.
Shout out James Tatum. I see you. Shout out Tyler Ingram, JB, Eric, John, Jacob, everybody. Have a great Sunday night, and we'll see you next week. Peace!
See you next week. Thanks, guys.
All right. Jeff was like, fuck this.